Today's episode of Street Notes, if nothing else, is a lesson in why you should still go out and shoot photos even when you think the light's too flat or there's nothing happening or the place is too quiet. Because inevitably, the more time you spend out on the streets looking for stuff, the more things you will see, and sometimes it'll be in flat light, but if you shoot it anyways, it can work out pretty well. And at the end of the video, I'll talk about why over time that makes a big difference in your work. What's up folks, welcome back to another episode of Street Notes. Today's video is spread across 2 days again because I've had a couple rough days of shooting, but nevertheless I managed to get a couple pictures that I like. That was not one of them. This park here though, we walked past it a little while before. I think I did not have the GoPro on, but you'll see this guy on the bench on the right hand side and some people in the background that we walked past. I shot a photo of them when we were passing the first time, and sadly it's not on the GoPro, but this is probably one of my favourites somehow. It's very complex, and I've moved towards more complex looking photos, especially on cloudier days when the light's not as interesting. What did it for me with this photo was that the guy's shirt and the other shirt that's tossed over his shoulder matches the girl in the background who has the shirt tied around her waist and the sort of bluish shirt t-shirt on underneath. And that kind of was the icing on the cake that made it for me, and I just like the green colours, and it's a nice change because everything right now in Denver is not green at all. Walking on through there, I shot a photo here, it didn't turn out too well. We said hello to these people later on and started to photograph them doing their work, but this time we were just kind of passing through, checking the place out. This guy on the chair here that was sleeping, I love that he's wearing all those bright colours and it contrasts nicely with the green. And also there's an apple and what I think is a pack of cigarettes sitting on the arm of the chair there. There's good colours, I like the shapes, I like the lines, and yeah, I think this is kind of a decent photo. Another interesting sort of scene with not great light coming up here is this lady guarding all these cans of soda at the side of the road. Started off with a wide shot. I quite like the diagonal lines, the composition here, and the perspective going down the street. And then also we did a close-up, which I also like. Apparently someone has been placing printed pictures with frames around the city in different spots, and Jack keeps seeing them now and again. I've only seen them a couple times, but kind of just interesting, cool little detail to photograph, and none of us know who this artist is, so it's always just interesting and mysterious to see. This scene here, I saw this guy in the suit looking at the board there, he was interesting, and there's a guy on the left doing something with like a blanket thing. And what I like here is just three interesting people across here. It could, you know, the composition could be better, maybe they could be closer together or something. This big dog was awesome. It was like 110 pounds and super friendly. There's all these people dotted around on the top of this hill, and I thought maybe I can frame them in a way that makes sense and that somehow makes a mundane scene look a bit more interesting. Well, this guy just happened to glance up at us as we were walking past, and I like that the way everybody's kind of dotted around this scene here. And you know, it's a strangely warm day in the middle of winter, so everything's still kind of dead. So there's a weird feeling. Should it be cold here or is it actually warm? And it actually looks better in black and white, to be honest. I've been shooting colour so much recently that I never really considered black and white, and I recently have had it in my head that a few pictures, because it was cloudy, might look better in black and white. Now I'm torn and I want to try everything in black and white or colour, and it's starting to grind my gears a little bit because I don't like having my attention split between black and white and colour. This one did not work out. Now I noticed a yellow hat coming along here, and there's these yellow umbrellas. I thought maybe I could make something interesting of it, but the background is far too chaotic and I don't like how it looks. Tried it in black and white, might even look better in black and white, but I still don't like it because of the background. This corner here often has a lot of people waiting for public transit. This guy had a red shirt on and a red background behind him. It's not great though. I always kind of like this vanishing perspective, and I mean I guess the guy in the blue sort of is a nice contrast to the guy in the red, but it's not, there's something missing, it's not really there. Here's someone holding a mirror in the middle of the street. That was really interesting. I wish I'd saw that earlier and been able to prepare / think about how I could frame it better. But I like how this one came out, even though the light sucks. It's good, I like it. Mirrors in the street are interesting. Back at this spot we started speaking to these people this time, and we asked if we could just photograph them as they were working. And they were telling us they were with, I think it was the Downtown Denver Partnership, and they're basically making this little pop-up park area in an empty lot that used to be a building that was demolished, and in the future it'll probably be constructed on and become another building, but in the meantime they're making a place where people downtown can sit, drink coffee, hang out, you know, make use of the outdoor space that they have and not have this ugly empty lot in the middle of downtown. So it was a really cool project, and we offered to take some pictures and send them to them, and if they just wanted to use them or if they hated them, that's also fine, you know. We just wanted to take some pictures and try and make something interesting. This time it's day 2, I've got the X100V out with me. The weather's much better, so we've got nice light, although it's colder somehow than it was the day before. But although we've got good light, the city is very empty, I think, maybe because it's so cold. This lady bends over to read the signs on the floor in front of me, and I thought it made kind of an interesting photo with the shadows, but still not great. I like the gesture of this, I think it was the dad in front of us, and they were deciding, I guess, which direction they wanted to go. They've got that nice gesture as he's reaching out there, but you know, it's still not very good, unfortunately. This kind of busy corner, there's always a lot of people passing through here, so there's good opportunities, but this again doesn't work out. Nothing really quite right there. And I hung out in this corner just to see if any more people would come through, and this lady with these roller skates comes through, and she definitely made that scene. It was fairly mundane otherwise. I do like the perspective on this corner looking down that street, and there's always interesting shadows and stuff, but yeah, in this case that lady just fills out the frame and adds a point of interest, I guess, in that corner. At the start of the video I talked about how it's important to go out and shoot even on days when you think it's too dull or when you think the city or town is going to be too quiet to go out and shoot. And it's almost just like a numbers game, you know. If you're training to be a violinist or a soccer player or something, you're not just good at it. You don't just go out and go to the tryouts and get your place on the team or in the orchestra or whatever. You have to do it over and over and over again and fail and practice and get better and figure out where you went wrong and how to fix it and improve on all those things in order to like figure out who you are, what your style is and how you like to do things. And the street photography is the same. In my mind, you have to go out and put in that practice, put in that training, like, and just incremental increases. Even if on some days you don't make much or almost no progress, that's better than not going at all, because if you don't go at all you slide slightly backwards. And this is unfortunately the only way to get better at these things. And on the days when you absolutely can't go out and do it, spend time visualizing or reading or looking at other pictures that help you to understand how you can go out and make better pictures yourself. And all of these little things compounded over time will drastically improve your ability to see and make pictures. For anyone who has seen my pictures from 2019, they're drastically different from all the stuff that I did in 2020. And in 2021, I've made a couple, maybe three photos that I like, but they are, again, very different from the stuff that I was making at the start of 2020 and 2019. And I think I've sort of like pushed myself into a more challenging territory where, you know, maybe I'll make less pictures that I think are aesthetically pleasing or nice, and I'll make more complex pictures that might not be a lot of people's cup of tea, but they're pushing me beyond what I was able to shoot before and helping me to actually move forward somehow. And hopefully that makes some sense to anybody watching this. Is really just to repetition, keep pushing and working on it even when you feel terrible about it. And I talk about this all the time. I feel negative when I'm out shooting a lot, and that's a bad place to be in sometimes. And then when I come home, I'm like, oh, I actually got a couple pictures that are okay. And I hopefully I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be able to relax when I'm out shooting a little bit and not panic about potential shots that are coming up, and just work on my compositions and seeing things and not be so negative, hopefully. That would be nice. And unfortunately my GoPro ran out. I did keep shooting throughout the rest of that day, and I shot a few more photos that I actually quite liked. The doorbell just rang. But anyways, I guess I should leave that there and stop waffling. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. And as luck would have it, my new microphone has arrived from B&H. You've probably noticed that my sound has been fairly inconsistent the past few months. That's because my original lav mic broke. The on-camera Rode mic thing also seems to be on its last legs. Sometimes it decides it doesn't want to work. And my little voiceover mic thing here that I've been using for a while sounds a bit weird to some people, and sometimes I get too close to it. I don't know, it just gets too noisy, or turn it down too much, or it's too far away and it's not consistent. So good audio, I hope.